gave me no room to get in here.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Hey there, YouTubers.
Hey.
And the camera's right over here so we can focus on that. I'm Lily.
I'm Norm.
We're husband and wife. I'm so lucky. And today for 30 minutes we're going to be talking about how to make the most of your ADHD. Have fun with it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. It's a great list. We have probably gone through and got this up many, many times, and have actually applied it a lot in our lives, and it's helped our lives a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Let me see if I can fit us both in a little bit
yeah,
better. Everyone's shaking enough?
earthquake.
Yeah. So 30 minutes worth of bliss. And how do I see the time? I don't see the time on there. Oh, it's 53. Okay. Anyhow, and we'll be looking for your questions in the chat also. So this is hopefully not just about us. Send us your questions. You've got 30 minutes. Figured it's lunchtime, right?
Yeah.
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday.
Woo!
It's actually Saturday for us.
That's right.
Neither one of us had to work today.
Ha.
Ta-da.
Yeah. Now, why are we... You want to sit this way so your head isn't cut off there?
Sorry.
Why are we doing this? Because October is ADHD Awareness Month. And we want to bring more attention to it, give you some tips, value added, etc. And we like to get exposure for our work as well.
Definitely.
I mean, we both have YouTube channels.
Yeah, we do. I have Nollypad Urban Farms and the Norm channel, which is just my basic Norm Johnson-Korbuly channel.
And you're writing a book, so you're
A
excited
book.
to...
Yep. Looking forward to that. Got to get that completed.
That's going to
Got
be
to get it by end of the year. I promise it'll be out by the end of the year.
It'd be fabulous. And then the Lily channel also, I would love to have 1,000 subscribers by October 31st. Oh my God! To just focus on content. So what are we going to discuss today? 5 tips, not necessarily in any categorical order. And before we give you those 5 tips, I'd like to thank one of my newer subscribers, Tom Gleason of ProTech Auto Repair in Corcoran.
Great mechanic.
Yes, absolutely fabulous.
So's the son.
Yeah. So just really wonderful, and he's a great guy as well. So our first tip, since everybody needs to eat, grocery shopping. This guy loves to grocery shop. It's fab. Thank God.
Easy as cake.
I can't stand grocery shopping for the most part. That's where my overwhelm comes in, really. We have slightly different types of ADHD. I'm more the hyperactive, I would say mind-wise and physicality-wise.
I'm more inattentive. Oh, what's that? Look, squirrel.
We both have a dose of that. And in case you're new to the ADHD world, it's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I still don't like the fact that they call it disorder, but that's another thing. So what is the shopping tip? Well, I wrote down that I don't recommend it, especially if you're overwhelmed by the process of cooking, like yours truly. Don't do the entire thing the same day. Meaning, if you're planning on making a stir fry, I would not advise you to shop for the stir fry, prep for it, and cook it the same day. That's a lot of executive function, which is what people with ADHD have trouble with. If it's a skill that you don't enjoy necessarily implementing, or shall we say, all the process, then break it up. Like I would shop and maybe prep the same day, but not cook the same day. It's just a lot of energy. You, on the other hand, love cooking.
I actually love cooking. I have no problem with it. One thing I do is, especially because I shop pretty much at the same store, actually the same 2 stores, so to speak, and if you don't count Costco, but Aldi, I mean, I know, well, my Aldi changed in the middle of last summer, but I actually can tell you where everything is in the store. And as I go along, I kind of think about, what should we have for dinner? Now, we both try to eat healthy. Matter of fact, I've lost 50 pounds in the last 6 months. It's been and we know kind of what we need. We need vegetables, and we need, certain types of meat and things like that. And it really helps to have kind of visualize what you want to do. Like if you want to make, let's just say, spaghetti. Well, we make spaghetti squash, so we use squash. A lot of times we grow our own, but if we don't have one, I know that where that is in the store, I just basically pick up that. I pick some herbs if we don't have any. things like that, on all the different parts of it, and it's really easy to do. And for me, I can kind of picture what I would want to do for making a meal. And we repeat a lot of meals. And breakfast is always a basic breakfast of, an omelet with either veggies and meat, or just veggies or cheese or whatever. So I know where everything is. So I kind of work my way through the store. As a matter of fact, I wrote a list for her one time because I couldn't get to the store in time because I was working. And I ended up writing it in order of where it was in the store, so she knew exactly where to find it.
Yeah.
And she knew, okay, I just got to go further down the aisle. It must be up here.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, did you write this in order?" I said, "Yeah."
It was
just
really
remember.
cool. And it is actually, I do really enjoy cooking, especially when the kitchen's clean, and we both have issues with that. I'm terrible at it. Sorry. Oh my God. It's bad. Anyway.
So it's sort of not just one of the tips, but clean your kitchen more.
Oh my God. Yeah. It just, ugh. Well, yeah, I enjoy the cooking part. I enjoy baking. It's the shopping part that overwhelms. Though one of the things that I've realized that overwhelms me about it is that I don't know if I'm paying too much for something. And he's got the prices memorized. He's got a sense for what is a normal price for something. So what we have figured out, since now I'm comfortable with Costco because I'm there like 4 days a week supervising through their marketing company, CDS, I am at Costco, I know the layout. That's not an issue. It's more like, how do the prices compare with another place? I decided to ask him, okay, Norm, which items do I get at Costco? Which items do I get someplace else? So that I can freely, stress-free, do the shopping. It'll make a world of difference. If that's your issue, that's one way to do it too. Well, tell us what your issue is. That's what the chat's for. The other thing is, what was it? Let's see here. Do you want to do one of your tips too?
Yeah. Number 2 in the list is, and it's got to do with, both Lily and I have businesses. We've got public speaking stuff we do. I do some marketing of farm animals, for lack of a better word, worm composting, which we both do. And we've got various other items. She's got her own website and things like that, along with her YouTube channel. One thing you do when you're especially networking a lot with people is you're always setting up appointments. And that's something that really you should do with anything you have. Like we have a thing, I don't know if well, you have it on your phone too. We used to have a problem with not being able to drink water at night for some reason. We'd forget to do it. Well, what we did is we had a thing that says, drink a glass of water every day at 6 o'clock, and I think hers is at 6:30, so we don't run into the bathroom. It's not kidding, of course, but it's one of those things where you set up a recurring appointment every day to remind you to do that. Well, let's say you have in my case, a chiropractic appointment every Friday. I always have that in my thing, so that when I'm setting up, like I'm going to a networking event like that, and they say, "Hey, Norm, can we meet Tuesday, Friday at 2:30?" Well, that's when my chiropractic appointment is. Well, I can do it at 4 or whatever, and things. So one thing you want to do is you want to make sure you put everything in your phone. Lily has actually taught me to put everything in my phone. If there's something I should remember to do, like call, something about like maybe my meds or driver's license, that's one thing I have in my phone now. But you should always consult your calendar before you set any appointment, because you don't want to talk to someone and go, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll see you, Friday at 2:30," and all of a sudden you go, "Sorry, I can't make it. I get a chiropractic appointment," or in some cases, canceling the chiropractic appointment to do this. So yeah, and always book your follow through while you're there.
That's true.
That's
true.
So.
And I'm still trying to figure out how to make the reminders buzz. It worked once or twice, and I don't know what happened. Maybe I had to reset the phone, but for those reminders to make sound. So unless you're paging through your calendar the first day in the morning each day, which is a good idea, it still would be nice to have sound.
Yeah, matter of fact, I have Google account, so it actually does a thing where it sends you an email every day. It says, "These are your appointments for the day."
Actually, I do get that.
And I get that once in a while. I'm not as busy as she is, so And I've got to work harder
I
doing
know
that, but
about
getting more
that.
customers. But that's one thing, and I think that's having a calendar, and even if you're not techie, if you're not into phones and stuff, but this was the greatest invention ever made was the smartphone. It also is the biggest bad thing too. It's a curse
my
and
God.
and a blessing. But it's great for keeping your stuff straight. And you know, sometimes I'll have my people that are more typical that may have not had to have that skill to put it on their phone, flake on something because I had it because I know I'd forget. Matter of fact, I had one time where I had one where I had to pick up a friend of mine's son, and I was driving Uber at the time, and I was going to pick him up between runs, and I missed it because it wasn't on my phone or it was on the wrong day. So always make sure you're accurate when you put it in the phone too.
Okay.
But that is number two. Always book your appointments on your phone, in a calendar, Google Calendar, whatever Apple's got, or you want to have some place where you can access it no matter where you are, because I'm sure this will give me a reminder on my computer too if it's coming up. So
Now, I think he also mentioned that he reminds himself about meds, or he has done that. Heads up to you, either if you have just gotten meds because you just got diagnosed, or you just haven't recently got a refill, there have been shortages. Lots of shortages. It's not fun. To make it less painful, check in with the pharmacy about a week ahead of time to make sure they have the kind that you want, or because then you'll need, if they don't, then you'll need to switch to a different pharmacy to ensure that you are not lacking meds for a few days, because that is awful.
very much. We both have had that happen to us over the last year, actually, especially where we've had to bounce pharmacies because they're running out. I've had one pharmacy say, "We never run out of Adderall. We never run out of this particular, milligrams, 30 milligrams or whatever." And sure enough, they were out the next month. So those things.
Yeah, and this is not an ad for Costco, but it just happens that I didn't know they had a pharmacy that I could go to if whether I was a member or not, and that my med is way cheaper there than other pharmacies.
Half price.
Oh my goodness!
Especially on Adderall.
Wow. As much as we would rather not be on meds, we're grateful that we have them and that we know places to go to make them less expensive. What was your next?
Oh, do you want another one?
The sleep. Sleep tends to be an issue for people with ADHD, whether it's falling asleep, staying asleep, etc., or going to sleep too late. In my case, I might be exhausted, but my mind still races even if I'm chilling out. I need noise to fall asleep. What I do is use I have two things, a fan, like an air purifier, and a white noise machine. I'm actually going to put away the air purifier because I don't think it does anything. I mean, the fan works as far as sound, but the white noise machine is like this big. And plus, now I realize there are YouTube channels that are simply about white noise.
Yeah, make sure they don't have a commercial in the middle of it.
Oh.
I've never experienced that, but I've seen them do commercials at the beginning, but not at the in the middle.
God.
But I'm always picturing like one of them was for like 10 hours of white noise. I picture 5 hours in it going, and you're doing some commercial,
And you wake up and like,
huh?
Oh, that's beautiful. And if you're going on vacation and you already have your laptop with you, that's one less thing to bring is a clunky white noise machine.
Yeah.
Because you'll have YouTube.
Make sure it's plugged in though.
Well, yeah.
Make sure if you're playing it on your phone, make sure your phone's plugged in because it will suck a lot of juice.
Oh, yeah. Speaking about juice, how about nutrition? Any wise words on that one?
Yeah. Don't eat a lot of sugar. That's in general, it's not good. It's good. Watch out because what happens is sugar triggers a lot of ADHD syndromes or symptoms, and it can make you really flaky. It can make you really hyper. It can make you just odd.
Well, yeah, and the things that it tends to be in, it's hidden sugars, processed foods, which might make you lethargic, will add on pounds, add cravings, because the fake sugars like sucralose, which is basically Splenda, and other fake sugars definitely spike your desires for eating.
I bet they're just as bad as sugar. Or they trigger a lot of the same things. I've actually been hearing a lot of podcasts on health type tips of doing a lower carb diet. And it's not like taking out all the carbs stuff, but you don't want to eat all the stuff that's processed. And they were talking about that it was like even diet pop and everything like that triggers you to be hungry.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest thing with sugar, is it actually triggers you to want to eat. And that's one of the things that definitely you don't want to do, because it actually makes it worse, believe it or not. I mean, the metabolic stuff, even it can really mess with your brain.
Yeah, and you want to have a lot of healthy fats because your brain is mostly fat. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have enough in there, it will be harder for your retention, for your thinking. So by healthy fats, we mean like fish oil. Talk with your nutritionist, or even look at The Plant Paradox by Dr. Stephen Gundry.
One of the best fats is actually avocados.
Yeah.
It is the wonder food of that thing. Like I said, the fat in your the fat that's in your brain, it's in like, you just said something, you said like 70% or 80%, something like It's a lot. Well, anyways, if you want your brain to function right, that's what happens. And especially if you're like me, where I'm trying to lose some weight, is I actually eat just as much, actually more fat than I usually used to do. And it's actually, I know what many doctors will say, oh no, this is bullshit. It's not. Fat does not make you fat. It actually helps you. If you eat 8 million calories of fat, it's not going to do anything good for you. It's going to add weight to you, but it's not something that causes problems in your system. And if you eat the right fats, you don't want to eat stuff that maybe is from a pig that's got that chemical they put in, like we have a problem with pork over here, which is, it's in the UK and all other places around the world. They don't have that chemical in the pork, which is it's in the feed. It's for growth hormones or something like that. It's actually, I think, maybe an antibiotic, and it's banned everywhere except here. And I don't mean to turn this into a health thing, but it's I know, that's what I'm saying. It's like it really has some bad side effects. So not just picking on the pork producers, but that's one of the places where it can be really bad, and that you don't want to add any more poison into your system. I think it's actually the Monsanto-based stuff, which we'll probably get taken off for that. But sorry about that. I just wrecked Lily's video. No, but I mean that's what a lot of people are saying on YouTube and on other channels and podcasts. So I mean that's something that you just gotta look out for, and eat smart and
like get movement in your day.
Yes.
Lots of movement.
That helps a lot.
It gets your blood flow going. It's excellent for your lungs, your heart, your mental health. Oh my goodness. Now, speaking of mental health, how about anxiety? Usually there's what they call a comorbidity, or a symptom that goes along with ADHD. It's anxiety and depression. Sometimes because you haven't been diagnosed, sometimes just because they go together, sometimes instead of ADHD, it's anxiety and depression. You get the idea.
Although that can be triggered by the fact that you're been diagnosed even later in life. For me, I was 45 years old when I was diagnosed with ADHD, and it was a miracle that when I took this med, I was like, wow, it does help a lot. That helped me quite a bit. Got my brain back on task. The one thing is that one thing it did trigger in me for a short amount of time, because I'm one of these people that when you get something thrown at me, I maybe go down the rabbit hole a little bit or get a little funk, but I'm somehow able to build myself back up, which I can describe in some other video in the future on my channel.
Yeah, your channel.
But yeah, I'm not one of these people that spirals. I just go, oh, poor me, poor me. Wait a second. It's in the past. Let's go forward. Live in the moment. Yada yada. It's one of those things where I just really, I've fortunately done it. A lot of people regret stuff. I mean, I could go and say, well, I used to do engineering. I get to a certain point. I mean, I was great up to a certain point, and all of a sudden, I get a big project, and we get all this pressure on me. And of course, because I wasn't medicated, I just fail. And of course, I didn't bring release from the job or whatever. And that's one of those things that, I mean, yeah, it's too bad that it happened, but I didn't know at the time. And I actually had a marriage that was kind of wrecked by that, like my previous marriage. I think that, I don't think we'd still be together because we were very different. Entrepreneur versus a corporate person, which I'm more of an entrepreneur. But anyways, that's not to go on that part either, but it really, it's one of those things where when you get diagnosed initially, you're going, oh gosh, woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's like, no, let's go forward. Rebuild your life, because, even at 45, I mean, I've more than rebuilt my life and met a wonderful lady and have a lot of great experiences because that I knew that was something that I didn't realize I had until I was in my mid-40s.
And what we're going to do is a 10-second stretch break, since if you've got ADHD, you're going, oh my God, it's been 20 minutes. Holy crap, how do they go on for 30? Oh, very good. Awesome.
My legs are tightening up there. Wait, just a second. So.
Oh my goodness.
So good.
Now, I was going to suggest learning meditation, and if you have to combat the anxiety or deal with it, sorry. If you're saying, I can't imagine sitting and meditating, I've tried everything, forget it. Who said you had to sit and meditate? There is ascension meditation. I will put the link to a person in the description box for this video, but it has been a game changer for us.
Oh yeah, definitely. It calms your mind down. It calms your everything. I mean, it's a great way to relax. If you're focusing or obsessing on something and spinning on something, it'll help you get your mind cleared. And the amazing thing is once that happens, you get some great epiphanies, great ideas. God. It's kind of cool.
And you can do it walking, sleeping, if there's noise next to you. I'm still learning that one, but it's amazing.
But I wouldn't suggest doing the closed-eyed meditation while you're driving. Mm-hmm. No.
And speaking of driving, first, that was number 3, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you want to do one of yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 4, be organized. I know. It's actually have a system.
Yeah.
One of the things that have been the biggest things that I have had in my life is many of my early jobs in life were process engineer and building systems, basically, whether it was a conveyor system or a packaging system or just a system to how we're going to get this project done and doing project management, that you need a system. Well, in your life, in your life, you have to have a system. For me, a friend of mine asked me, he had found out I was ADHD, and so is he. And he says, how many times you have to go out to the car you go out to the car, forget your car keys, come back in, forget your wallet, whatever, yada yada. And I said, it's really easy to do.
Stand it?
Show you. If you want to, that's fine.
Let me see
but I'm not wearing my pants correctly, so I'm just wearing my sweats. But
it's not like he's sitting.
Oh no, I'm not naked. I'm just wearing my sweatpants and. Okay. But it's like basically.
Just explain it.
But basically, I have 3 things I have to have. When you leave the house, you should kind of figure out what you need. Like in the case of a lady or someone who has a bag, like I do too, actually a backpack, you can kind of add this to the list. But my basic one before I actually started carrying a backpack a lot was I would do the phone wallet keys, which it was funny one day. Because I always keep my keys up here, but I have a jacket pocket I put my keys up here so I don't have my pocket being squished and pushing the button to unlock the door all the time, because that happens sometimes when you're driving a lot. But anyways, so I have it up here so the car can still read it because it's a push button car, right? but yeah, so I do the phone, wallet, keys, and Lily saw me do that one day, and she goes, "You doing a Macarena?" I go, "Yeah, it's phone, wallet, keys, Macarena." So, and those are the three things I needed: was the phone, my wallet, and my keys, and that would get me anywhere. In fact, if I was going on a trip, that's what I needed. Now that is as true. I mean, all the way around. So any place you're at, and I know this from experience with other friends who have left keys or phones behind at a restaurant, a bar, a theater. What I always do is whenever I get up, phone, wallet, keys, and it helps so much because you all of a sudden realize that, oh, I don't have it with me right now, and you know that you had it when you came in because you did it as you get out of the car, and so it's something that you want to do, and you want to do this every single time. You know, it's usually try to do three things. I mean, if you can break it down to three things that'll guarantee you that you won't have a problem, that's the easiest way to go. So I think if I did phone, wallet, keys, backpack, it might be a little weird, but because I actually have left my backpack because I forgot it. But I need to do that more often. I'm spinning again, which is good. What happens though is that you should do that, build a habit of that. I actually do the backpack thing now. That's one of the things I look for. But I know how many times I've opened up this door here, which locks behind me. And before I closed the door, I went, oh, good, got my keys, we're good. And that's the thing, is you want to just have the three most important things you need to have, which no matter what situation you're in, you'll be able to get back into the house or not have to worry about if you forgot to pack something like on a trip. Okay, it's like, well, great, I've got my wallet with me. I know I can buy shaving cream or underwear or whatever, razors or something like that whenever I get to my place. And that's one of the things that helped me out a lot with this is that you don't have to really worry about anything else as long as you've got those basic things. And I know a lot of people, when I used to drive Uber, we'd get 3 blocks away from their house and they'd go, oh my God, I forgot my cell phone or I forgot my wallet. And that's something that, and I always tell them that story.
And another really important factor, let's make this the tip number 5. Anything after this is, woo, you guys are awesomely generous because we said 5 tips. Tip number 5, make sure you keep your brain happy. What the hell does that mean? It means people with ADHD tend to get bored easily. A bored brain sometimes turns into a mean brain or a depressed brain. What I suggest is keep your brain fed with fresh information, like keep learning. I love reading daily. You might be saying, I don't read. That's you are at the same level then as someone who's not able to read. Keep that in mind. If you need to start with an audiobook, so be it. But 15 minutes a day, stand up if it makes you sleepy. It is a great discipline builder.
Very much. It's one of those things where I used to be an audiobook guy. I used to listen to a lot of audiobooks and didn't read that much. And what I found a great way to get into reading more was I would have the audiobook and the book. And I'd follow along in the book. And I was getting all the same information. Obviously not while driving, but but it was good because you end up having that same process where you're reading it off the paper instead of your internal voice saying it to you. Of course, it's the author or whoever's doing the voiceover. And it helped a lot. And you can kind of see, especially if it's an unabridged version of it, of the audios, and you can kind of see where they got it from, and you won't lose. It's identical. That's what audiobooks do, is they try to make it perfect.
Yeah, and interpersonal skills books, also known as soft skills or people skills, that's really helpful to be reading. For example, Personality Plus, it's about different personality types and how to relate to people who are either choleric, sanguine, melancholy, or phlegmatic. That's by Florence Littauer. There is a Christian spin to it. Either way, and we've got 3 seconds left. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, like, share, etc. the Lili channel, and ask Norm about his upcoming book. We appreciate you so much. Now, I guess that's it for now. Thanks. Bye-bye.